Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. So I'm getting to a video here on the ZT470. It is coming out, late. I think this one came out about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks. And in the world we live in, with the number of new knife releases that occur, I am very, very late to the party on this one. A lot of what has been said I think is accurate up to this point from other people who've commented, or you guys who probably already own this knife. But ZT's kind of continued down the trend of smaller, lighter weight knives, more carryable for a lot of people. And so the 470 here obviously fits into that. So this is a design by Dmitry Sinkovich of Belarus. And honestly, I don't know that that guy has ever made an unattractive design. Super clean aesthetic. Action's obviously quite good on this one. But Dmitry has a super clean aesthetic. He makes very attractive knives. They almost always have really good ergonomics, and partnered with ZT's manufacturing capabilities and their very tight tolerances in fit and finish, it's obviously a very nice knife overall. So specs on this thing: you have a 3.4-inch blade. The handle length is about 4.4 inches, overall just about 7.8, and it does weigh in fairly lightweight at 3.3 ounces. For a few size comparisons, we have another Dmitry Sinkovich design, and this is the 450, right? Yeah, this is the 450. This is obviously the limited edition one that they did. It's nice. It's very, very nice. But honestly, if you're looking at the 470, the other strong contender is from the same designer, and it's the 450. Arguably their most popular among the current designs. Another one in the same size range is the, oh god, I'm messing up on the numbers now. This is the 609. This is by R.J. Martin, also in the same size range. And what else do we have? Oh, the Kershaw Dividend, always a favorite. And as you can see, it's a little bit bigger than the Dividend there. The funny thing is, like, this knife in hand or in pocket or in pictures, it really does look like a 3.25 inch blade, but it's actually 3.4. So I don't know. I handled it at blade, and then it took a couple months to come out. And when I got it, I had forgotten the specs, and I thought it was a 3.25, and looking at the specs, she reminded me it was actually a little bit bigger. So anyways, this knife looks and carries and feels actually smaller than it is, which is nice, rather than having something carry significantly larger than it is. And let's see what other... I have the Spyderco Para 2, of course. These are my main two for size comparison, so... yeah, is that straight? That's kind of where it's fitting in between those two. So 2018, I called it the year of consumer feedback for zero tolerance, because the releases that they did do were ones that people had requested. Or at least I did. So the first part of the year, there were 3 releases at SHOT Show 2018. Here we go. You had the... oh my god, I can't remember any of the numbers. You had the 0462, which was a larger version of the 460. This was a knife that I personally had dreamt about, and so I was super stoked to see it come out. You had the 0393, right? Yep. God, guys, I'm struggling today. You had the 0393, which of course is a production version of the 0392, and then last but not least, you had the 0609, a production and significantly smaller version of the 0606 CF. So, all models that consumers had been asking for in either larger or smaller or less expensive types of designs. The 470 was a ZT version of the Kershaw Atmos. Again, Kershaw's the budget line. And it wasn't one that I had picked up because I'm more interested in the ZT knives by and large. But it was one that was very popular among the Kershaw line. people had said, hey, this would be a great ZT, and either it was already in the books for them to do it, or again, they listened to more consumer feedback and they brought us the 470, which again is really cool. If they are listening for feedback and there's another Kershaw they wouldn't mind bringing the ZT line, can we please have a hawk lock like the Injection? Just asking for a friend, and that friend is me. So, move these out of the way. You know, the one thing that I really like is how good the action is for such a smaller, thinner blade. There's the blade stock. It's coming in at what, 0.12 inches thick. You know, we can compare it to something like the 0393. You can see a significant difference in blade stock thickness. Even the 04, yeah, look at the thickness between these two. So again, significantly thinner blade stock, which a lot of people are happy about, lightweight, but look at the action for such a small blade or a thin blade. Really, really good action, better than on the 0609, although the ergonomics on the 0609 are pretty incredible for my hands. Ergonomics in this one though are quite good, but the action is quite impressive. You've got some jimping up here on the spine of the blade, which is moderately effective. Again, a knife this size, this weight, I don't know that you really plan on batoning through things with it. Really nice satin finish, stone-washed flats, of course. Hopefully that's coming through. It's always nice when they do the flats in a different finish. It just shows off how crisp and clean the grind lines are on their knives. The secondary bevel is very consistent side to side. Blade steel is, of course, CPM 20 CV, premium blade steel. And yeah, really, really nice action on mine. I've heard some people complain that the detents weren't that strong. I have no idea. This one, I have no problem flipping it at all. So again, sample size of 1. I can't speak for everyone. And they did a really good job of adding some texture to that flipper tab. I've still slipped on it a few times, but by and large, you know, it grips the finger pretty well. So, you know, if you're trying to kind of half-ass it, you're not going to hit it, but rest your finger on, no problems whatsoever. Really nice clean design aesthetic from the show side. Kind of a cooler, I don't know, more interesting pivot there. It's similar to the 450 here. I don't know, similar-ish. Obviously, it's, you know, from the same designer, so there'll be some consistencies. You've got the marbled carbon fiber here on the show side, which is really nice. I think this was an aluminum backspacer with a very small lanyard hole. I don't really care about lanyard holes, so not a big deal. Centering is good, action's good, lockup is solid. And one thing that I also really like is access to the lock bar on this is very, very nice. It's super easy to disengage this one. You're not fumbling around or having to jam your finger there. And the lock bar tension is also quite nice. I've had a couple knives recently where the lock bar tension is incredibly strong, and it makes it less enjoyable to open and close, you know, frequently. So this one is very accessible, and then in the hand you don't feel that, you know, protruding. It doesn't mess with the ergonomics at all. So very well done, I guess, to Dimitri in his design. So yeah, you know, the handle overall has a fairly neutral grip with somewhat a slightly pronounced first finger choil. So it's probably going to work with a lot of different hand sizes without being uncomfortable. You know, like the 0609 here, it works really well with my hand, but obviously it's not as neutral of a grip. It's more specific as far as where it locks your fingers in, so that can be more, I guess, restrictive to hand sizes, to how comfortable you find it. But this one is exceptionally comfortable in my hands. So anyways, action not as good as the 470, but still a cool piece. It does use standard hardware here, Torx T8 as far as I recall. Now the other thing that people have talked about is the you know, the lock side. It's not as exciting or as attractive as the show side with the marbled carbon fiber, and that really speaks to price points. So, you know, when ZT released this one, they have several different price levels, but by and large, they try to keep their production stuff around $250 or below. You know, you'll pay more once you get into some of the, you know, obviously the the fancy or the special or the limited editions, but you know, with this one, I'm kind of curious as to what the price would be if they did also do a marble carbon fiber inlay, and if they did a 3D milled pocket clip. You know, as the price goes up, obviously they lose buyers. So I don't know. I'm just kind of curious what that price would be. I mean, if it was $300 or $320, would they lose enough buyers to where it's not even worth it to do? And so, you know, again, the more stuff they do, the more expensive the build becomes, and they probably didn't want to lose a lot of buyers along the way. Hence the, you know, kind of boring show side here. It's functional. You know, the pocket clip works really well. There's plenty of space. It's just a standard spring clip, but it's not an off-the-shelf part. As you can see, it matches the design or the flow. This one was made specifically for this knife. So, I mean, there's that. If it was just an off-the-shelf, you know, standard Kershaw clip, I would probably complain about that. But this one, it works well. And there are, I think that's just a standard, yeah, that's just a standard 2-screw configuration. So there are probably some clips out there that work if you wanted to swap out the clip. Again, I don't know, this one needs it at $240. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck, great warranty support, and so, you know, it is what it is. They have other, you know, more expensive models like the limited edition I just showed you if you want to get into some a little bit fancier stuff, a little more interesting. But yeah, overall great fit and finish, very good ergonomics, good action, thinner blade stock. It's a slicey little piece, and it's from a top tier designer. So, I mean, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. If you've been on the fence, I mean, I'm sure I'd be surprised if you didn't like the knife. Again, I can't speak for what you like or don't like, but if you're thinking about it, then the answer would probably be yes. I think the biggest contender in this size range is, again, just the other ZT from Sinkovich, which is the 450. This one, for my larger hands, is actually a little more comfortable just because I have a little more width in the handle here that I really, really like. But, I mean, you can't go wrong with the 450. It's the most popular, again, I'm guessing, ZT for a number of reasons, but it's a very, very good knife. So, now the other kind of tangent I wanted to chat about was the release on this one. When I talked to ZT at Blade Show, what they told me was, and hopefully they don't mind me sharing this, but this knife was green lighted to be shared at Blade Show the morning of. Even the night before, they weren't sure if they were going to show it or not because of the success of the other models. So the 462, the 393, and the 0609 have all done really, really well in 2018 for ZT. And they've actually exceeded, you know, they were exceeding the number of units sold, or they were doing much better than they thought. And so that pushed a lot of knife designs back. They thought the sales of these would have trailed off by Blade Show, and so they could have introduced this one and other models that would go into production immediately. But when they showed this one, they knew that it would not go into production for several months, just with the number of backlogs or back orders they had from dealers on these 3 models. So anyways, I've heard a lot of conspiracy theories about why ZT released so few models in 2018, and you know, I don't know. I've heard a lot of weird theories out there, and that really is the reason why. It just comes down to production capacity and, you know, the popularity of these 3 models. And I think all 3 are great. I think the 0470 was also a very good addition for 2018, and I don't know, perhaps there'll be something new displayed at SHOT Show 2019, which is in, I don't know, like a month. I think it's in a month from now, as long as they have the production capacity, or if, you know, if sales have slowed down on these, then they have no qualms about cutting off production as soon as things slow down, and so they can move on to other cool pieces. So looking forward to 2019. Would really, really, really not be mad if there was a ZT version of this. What is this, the induction with the hot block? Just saying again, you know, in case you didn't hear me the first time. So, yep, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. More to come. See ya.